Okay, we are live. It is Wednesday. I forgot to put my cardboard recycling up last night, so that was fun. Didn't remember till this morning. Well after they would have come by. So yay! Well, hopefully I can get everything out next week. But we will see. Oh my goodness. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. We are back for some embroidery shenanigans this evening. Sorry, I'm trying to pick a color here that I think might work out. And I know that's the same color as the fish. Does it matter? I mean, does it really? It certainly tied the top and the bottom together there. But it doesn't necessarily have to. I don't want that color though. We just did that color. So can maybe go with this color. Ah, heck it. This is one of those Coats and Clark threads. We'll see that. Oh, sorry. I forgot that was right up on the microphone. Sorry. So we are working on this guy today. Now, in case you haven't been able to tell, I did get some background work done on this. I got from about here down to like here. There's a little bit in between, but like I've got like a chunk like here to here and up that's not done. But I got as far as I could in the past couple of days. So you can definitely see a striking difference on the camera between where I have gotten that background black stitching in and where I haven't. Now that I've gotten more done, like it looks blurry and weird down here, but up here it looks a little more poppy and crisp up in this area. So I'm slowly working my way down, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to come up. But that's what I've been trying to do in the afternoons before I have to go and do housey things, or in between doing housey things and doggy things and dinner things and all that. I mean, it does take a little bit of time to work through. So it's a little bit slow going, but not as slow as I expected. I feel like I got a decent amount done today for the time that I worked on it. I only had like a couple of hours to work on it today. Earlier for the backgroundy stuff. And I did get the Christmas kits in. I think I mentioned that the other night. I haven't shown you guys them yet. I suppose I can. I'm really confused about the one for my mom. Because it's asking for, or telling me that it wants me to do a fancy free stitch. And I have no idea what that is. I can't find any information on it. It shows an image next to the stitch, but it's blurry. And I don't understand what they're trying to tell me to do. And I'm just like, what? What is this? That was my first concern. And my second concern was it said that it included enough embroidery thread. But when I was pulling the embroidery thread out, I'm like, I have some concerns. Am I supposed to be single thread stitching this? Because there's not very much here. I don't know. We'll see. I might have to pull from my stash. I might have to get some more. Who knows? We might inadvertently end up with another multi-pack of Coats and Clark because I need the thread colors. We'll find out. I have a feeling it's going to be another choose your own adventure like previously, but I guess we'll see what happens. Alright, so last time we were together, we got our star done, we got that done. I was originally going to work on some of the water here, but I got distracted over our little corally guy down here. So I kind of want to start working on him. And I think the last time we were together, I had mentioned something about making this thing yellow. And part of me still kind of does want it to be yellow. You know, it's gonna be a little unbalanced there. Actually, the whole thing is going to be unbalanced. Just because of where it's at. Alright, how about there? Can we be happy with it there? Maybe? That's definitely still. We'll try that there. Can we see where I'm at? I might have to adjust the camera over a little bit. We'll see. This canvas is a little awkward. I'd feel better if I had two hands gripping it, but I don't have room for two of these arms, nor do I have money to buy a second one that I only need for this specific project. That's not gonna happen. Okay, you can kind of see where we are. Kind of, slowly. Should get a little better as we get some more color in here, but I am enjoying how this is coming to life with the black thread in the background. That is working out so much better than I had hoped. Because, you know, harebrained ideas and all that. Now, I still need to repaint the outside edges because this has gotten a bit scuffed up from us working on it, and I wasn't happy with how shiny that particular paint was. So I want to redo that with a more matte finish black paint. And I do have one. I am just kind of trying to wait until the end to do that so it doesn't get scuffed up some more while we're still working on it. It's getting bumped around and moved around and all that. Now, I'm planning on doing at least one of the kits on stream and maybe one of the custom ones I need to do on stream. We'll see how long kit number 1 takes us. but I need to finish our flamingo needle felt. I was trying to say needle point. I'm like, no, that's not right. Our flamingo needle felt first. I don't necessarily know how long that is going to take, but at the same time, I'm not anticipating it taking forever and a day. That kind of depends on Mr. Bean, to be perfectly honest, because he kept wanting to be the center of attention last week, and nothing I was doing was making him happy, so I'm not entirely sure what he wanted. I think he just wanted attention, or to be a chaos gremlin, because that is well and truly what he is. Because he definitely kept trying to get up here at different points over the course of this past week while I was working on the background for this, and over the weekend when I was working on my Bob Ross inspired landscape that I'm trying to do. Now that one I had to make the pattern for myself. I know, don't come at me. I know there's a Bob Ross embroidery kit out there. I know, I've seen it. However, I was not crazy about how some of them looked finished. And even though I'm newer to embroidery, and I know I still have a lot to learn as far as embroidery goes, I kind of felt like I could come up with something that looked a little better. So, like, some of the stitches on the one just looked so messy, and I'm like, eh. Like, when you really look at it, it kind of looked like a bit of a hot mess, and I was just like, I don't know about that. Like, I think I can make something that looks a little bit neater. So mine, still in my stand, so mine looks out of focus, but mine looks like that so far. And I know the colors are not the same as the tutorial that inspired it. I know, but I also did not want the entire thing to be yellow. So, because that was inspired from season 1, episode 1 from The Joy of Painting, because I was like, well, let me just pick something, right? I don't know if this bulby thing is supposed to be a water blob, or if it's supposed to be part of this. Part of me very much wants to make it a watery blob. So that is what I am going to do. for anybody that may not know. I used a stencil for some of the shapes on here just to try to help me get my thoughts together on what I wanted the background to look like and all that. So that's why I'm like hesitating at times. I'm like, I don't remember what direction this stencil went in, or what the base stencil necessarily looked like. It's been a while since I've used that stencil. And even the shapes on the stencils have changed slightly since putting them down and then adding the glue and all that. So the base of this is a, I think, 10 by 20 stretched canvas. I then enlarged my name in a font on, I think, Creta. And with the husband's help, we got it big enough to fit this, so we printed it out because I liked that particular font. And got it transferred over onto this canvas. And then I did some little watery blips in the background, mosaic-like tiles, if you will. And or mosaic-like shapes, I guess, would be a better descriptor. And then took some hot glue, did a layer of hot glue kind of raised up over the shapes. I had gotten the idea from someone else that had done something similar on YouTube. I think it was, I don't know how to say her name, Mia. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name. It was M-I-I, I think. She had done something similar, but it was just like a more, compared to this, a more simpler design. And her shapes were a bit larger, I believe, going by the size of the canvas. And kind of wish I had gone with something a little bit more simple. But I also wish I had given myself more space in between my pieces. But you know, you live, you learn when you're trying something new, right? It's an experiment. And I am liking how it's coming out. I love how the hot glue is giving it more of like a puffy paint kind of feel, like the t-shirt dimensional paint. We called it puffy paint when I was younger. I don't know if that's still what it's referred to. It might just be referred to as dimensional fabric paint now. Little tiny tubes that would constantly clog and you'd be squeezing it and then, you know, it would have a blowout and then you'd be like, no! And you'd be like panicking trying to fix it. Except you were better off letting the mess dry and then trying to pick it off the shirt than trying to wipe it off, because then it would just smear. and we would have these, I don't know if they're still around, but I remember distinctly having these like t-shirt transfer books. Okay, well, that didn't quite work. Where I guess it would be something akin to pixel art nowadays. Um, where there was a design with different colors printed, like each shape made, I guess kind of like a diamond painting key, where each symbol inside this circle signified a different color, essentially, except you were using this three-dimensional paint. And you would iron on the transfer of the pattern onto your t-shirt or tote bag or whatever you wanted to do it on. And then you would just sit there and put dots of paint on these dots that were transferred over onto your fabric to make your design. I loved doing it, but I was so bad because I would sit there after it was dry, and I love textures on stuff. Like whenever we go out, I have to touch like the clothes at Walmart or whatever to see how skeevy it feels or if it actually feels nice. And so I would like run my hands over the paint when it was dry, and you'd feel all these little bumps and stuff, and then I would start picking at it. And as time went on, I would end up picking the dots off. I'm like, oh no, I have to fix that. Sometimes I'd remember to fix it, sometimes I wouldn't. And I was so impatient, like they took a good 24 to 48 hours to dry, depending on how thick your dots were. But this reminds me of that quite a bit. But yeah, if anybody is familiar or more of a pro at embroidery, do you know what a fancy free stitch is supposed to be? I posted the question on Blue Sky, but I forgot to put a embroidery tag on it, so I don't know if I'm actually going to get an answer or not. I tried researching it, and I was coming up empty-handed, and a couple other people I had seen were also coming up empty-handed. I think it's a bad translation, because I don't think, I do not believe the country of origin on the directions was English. So I think it was translated strangely, and now I'm just kind of like, I mean, what am I supposed to do here? I haven't started the kit yet. I'm trying to get the current project that is in that hands-free stand completed, and I'm almost there. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Don't even. Don't even. Did you seriously? Oh, you did. Oh, wait, maybe it's not too bad. Maybe it's not too bad. Perhaps there's still hope. I will say, I don't know what was going on earlier, but the black thread I had just would not, it wouldn't stop tangling. And it was driving me crazy. Oh, got it. Like the one piece I just gave up on and had to snip the knot out. I was like, are you kidding me? Usually I will sit there and try to fight to untangle the knot, but that one was just too much from earlier. And the one particular set of black thread I had, just like every stitch, I'm like, what is happening? Like, I didn't touch it, and it was tangling, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to be touching it to a degree just to make sure that it's not gonna tangle as I pull through, and then it was tangling there too, and I'm like, okay, so this particular thread is just being fussy today. I see how it's gonna be. Oh, did I get a knot on the back? Oh, I did. Oh, well, there's a second problem right there. How far? Ugh, do I want to bother? I kind of do, because, well, it's not a tremendous amount. It is a good amount. Can I even... I don't know if I can. How many stitches back are you? You might not be. Considering I can't pull the one side out, I think we have to live with you. Dang it. Well, that's frustrating. I didn't feel it in time. That's deeply frustrating. Secondarily frustrating. Because I pulled this off the needle. So I could use the needle to fix the thing. Only to realize that, oh yeah, that does go back a bit. Only to realize that I couldn't fix it. It's alright. Like, I will... See, I don't know that I have enough felt that's the same color, though, to put over the back, but at the very least, I am planning on tacky gluing the entire back down. It's that, or I could get like 2 fabric samples. Like Walmart has smaller bits of fabric for when you only need like a yard of something. The heck am I? There we are. So, I mean, that would also be an option. Just to tack that down over the back just to hide all the messy. I mean, I have a t-shirt I might be able to use for that also. So I wouldn't have to buy anything. It is a white t-shirt, but it is going on the back, so well, oh, there you are. So while there might be some bleed through of color, it might not be all that bad, because I mean, it's on the back. So should be okay. Right? It's not like we're going to be staring at the back. I will probably end up getting either a sawtooth hanger or little triangle hangers for this guy when I'm all said and done, because of what the heck am I? Hello? There you are. Nope, I had you briefly. Not quite where I wanted you, but I think we can make do from there. So we definitely need to rethread this guy here in a minute, because we've still got a ways to go on him. Right, we're not even done one of the bits of it here. So this guy will take us a hot minute here, and that's okay. Like, I am not in a super huge rush with this one, so uh-oh. Don't do that. Let's not rip out of the needle, okay? That's just rude. Alright, however, since you're being extra fussy, I think we'll have to make this one our last stitch out of this bit. Yeah, that was a bit of a problem, wasn't it? I just want to get it kind of tacked down there. So I don't keep grabbing it. So some of you may have noticed I made an adjustment to the stream schedule. I need a break from Dinkum for a little bit. So we're gonna go and visit Stardew Valley for a little while. It's been a good bit of time since I've been in there. And there's been a fair bit of changes and new stuff added since I last really played. So I figured we'll give that a go. I kind of felt at loose ends in Dinkum. And I know I shouldn't. And I know that's probably part of the charm in Dinkum, but it was getting to the point where I needed more resources than I was able to get without a bunch of fuss. So I'm just going to take a break from it for a bit. We might get back to it in a while. But we're gonna give Stardew Valley a visit for just a bit. Don't know how long yet. We'll see. We will see. So yeah, my goal this weekend, since I don't think I have anything pressing that's gonna need to be dealt with. I did laundry last week. We ran errands last week. So I don't think I have anything terribly necessary to do this weekend. I need to get some more bookshop sim recorded, although I could, in theory, do that during the week. Oh, that did not like going through there at all. That was... Why are you angry? Oh. Because I've got that huge knot of thread there. And it's gonna try to be mad about it. Alright. Well. Hopefully I can clean that up. With some of the black thread. If it comes to it. And I mean, I'm no stranger to doing that. I've had to do that in a couple of spots here so far. Like, I had to get our ridges back on that seashell. And in a couple of spots there where we just lost the separation because I had the bits a little close together. So I'm not sure I'm gonna do here, right? Because I've got that bump there that maybe that bump up there is supposed to be part of this. Because, maybe it is. So I guess we're gonna have to make a decision as to whether or not we come back in and fill that over with this color, or if we make it a water nubby. It's like, I don't know what to do with that, because that's an awfully big space in between those two. Right? I could just make that a water nub and then just bring the black through in between them to kind of bring back the little separation point between the two. Oh, right. So I had started to explain how we did this, and then I got distracted. So I did the hot glue over top. I think I got distracted by puffy paint. Sorry. And then after we did the hot glue, I painted everything in black Liquitex. But I'm not happy with how the Liquitex looks. It's a little shinier than I wanted it to be. So, between it being a little bit shinier than I wanted and also having these little needle pokes through. It's where I'm poking through the canvas, and the canvas was gessoed in white and then had the black paint put on top of it. So now whenever I stitch up or stitch through the canvas, I'm getting the gesso like flaking off the canvas, which is weird to me. I'm surprised it's doing that. All right, I need to adjust that up a little. So that we can kind of see, we're down here at like the very bottom. Alright, so that's a little bit easier. So because it's doing that weirdness in the background, like you can see it more around these guys. That's kind of why I'm coming back in with the black embroidery floss to clean up all of the space around everything. Now, I can only take that so far because we've got stretcher bars in here. And I can't stitch through the stretcher bar. So in the section that I can't stitch through. And don't get me wrong, there is stretcher bar right here, but I'm coming in at an angle and I'm able to come out underneath where I can grab it, but that's about the limit that I can do on that. So the section that I can't stitch around, I'm going to do very carefully with that other flat black paint. Oh, no. I don't want to be sewn to the canvas, please. I got my finger stuck in the thread and pulled it a little tighter. Than I had anticipated there. And had some trouble getting my finger out of the thread loop. So let's not sew ourselves to our canvas. That's going to be a little tricky to get out of. I mean, I have a seam ripper nearby, so I probably could use that one-handed, but point being, let's not try. Okay. So we've got this little nubby arm kind of sticking off of here. Is kind of what I'm trying to work around at the moment. Wasn't really sure what the best direction was going to be to go in. But I think we're doing okay. Now, I have not had any of the hot glue pop off of here. I will say that was a mild concern I had running through the back of my head. I'm like, like, as I'm trying to come up alongside it. Well, that did not do what I wanted it to do. Like, as I'm coming up alongside of it, is there... I'll just come up on the other side. Is there a chance that some of this glue decides it's not having it and it's done with my nonsense? And I suppose there is. Like, I suppose there is still that chance. So far, everything has been behaving. The worst things I've had happen is the bits of the gesso flaking off as I am sewing through the canvas. And I don't know if I needed a bigger needle to avoid that or what, but that is something that I have experienced, just so you're aware in case you attempt to do this. Um, the only other thing I've really had happen, and it really wasn't or isn't a huge deal, is that some of the black paint that I have put on top of this has peeled off over in here. Where that like weird light gray looking spot is, that's actually the canvas underneath. The bit of hot glue, the paint stuck to my hand or whatever, or my shirt or something, and it just peeled right off. That's the only spot I think I've had it happen in that I can see readily so far. I mean, it's more amusing than anything. But I did have that happen, so. I am using 3 strands of thread. It was like the standard of what I had been learning to do. However, I've seen other people on their projects of their videos doing it where they've been doing a lot of 2-strand, and one person I think does a lot of single strand at times. And I can see the differences that that makes, and where that might fit pretty good. Oh no, it's officially a stream. Oh no. Substitute? Substitute, you angered the bot of Moo, which angered me. We don't want that. Got some bad news for you, Substitute. Got some bad news there, Substitute. You're joining my ban list. I hope you enjoy it there. You'll have plenty of your other friends there. From your same company. But I'm sure those accounts have been suspended and deactivated and have probably been disintegrated into oblivion by now. But who knows? I haven't requested an updated ban list in a while. Alright, so like that one I showed you earlier, I've done that mostly in 2-thread or 2-strand. And there's been some spots that I've done single. Like the little bits of light reflection and ground reflection in the water. Like that was all single strand. The grass on that back hill was single strand. Like everybody else has been 2 strands. And I've got 2 more large hills to go. And then a little bit of land in the foreground and some shrubbies. And those hills are going to have some grassy bits on it. But it's going to be more like dirt hills with little patches of grass on them. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how far I'm going to get on that this weekend. Part of me wanted to work... Dang it. Part of me wanted to work on that a bit this week. But we still have time because we haven't gotten all that far on the needle felting, and we're still very much putting the sky in. Still not sure if I'm gonna do that dual colored sky. Working down to the horizon. They're very different shades of blue. So it might be kind of weird. So I think I'm just gonna probably stick with the one shade. On that. But I might try to add some polyfill to it. Give our clouds a little bit more. Dang it. Here I go again. Popping up the hole I came through. It's not what I wanted to do. Alright. Come up through here. So it turns out the closest Michaels, the new one that's supposed to be opening, to us, seems to have gotten delayed. Like they were supposed to have opened like in May, and I'm like, why have we not heard anything? Like I keep Googling hours, and then I saw something that said, yeah, they opened, and I'm like, oh, did they? And then I saw a Facebook thread about it. I guess in the town area that it's in, and people from like a week ago are like, yeah, they're just hiring for in there, and I saw like a couple of people in there hammering a couple of nails or working on the floors or something. So something happened, and they definitely got delayed. And then somebody else said that they saw a sign saying the beginning of August. And oh gosh, if I lived closer, I would have applied. I know, well, some time ago, several years ago, when we were last up in New Jersey, we had popped into the Michaels out there near where I used to, no, don't start, near where I used to work at AC Moore, and, we had popped in there for a minute because I was bored. And I think the weather was gross, and we were just kind of looking for something to do. And as I was walking in, or maybe I was walking out, I saw a familiar face, and it was one of the people that used to be an assistant manager that I had worked with at AC Moore. And they recognized me like almost immediately, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know, he goes, you ever need a job, you let me know." But of course, this is very much not that store, so might be a little bit harder to get hired. But I do have some craft store experience, so I would definitely have to be retrained on all of the things. But if we lived closer to that store, I probably would sign up. I kind of like doing planogram setups, and I know that's kind of weird. And I would bitch them out left, right, and center when I had to do them at ACMO. But there's a big difference between doing a planogram setup when there's no customers in the store as to when there are customers in the store. And the few times that I was in Michael's, I don't know if the employees at Michael's just didn't handhold the customers as much as we had to at AC Moore. But like, Michael's had their aisles numbered, so if you asked them where something was, they would just tell you the aisle number. At AC Moore, we had to physically walk you to the item on the shelf. We couldn't just walk you to the beginning of the aisle, and people are like, "Oh, if you just give me a general direction," I'm like, "No, I have to take you." I'm like, "Well, I'm still looking at something over here." I'm like, "Well, if you insist that I just tell you, I'm really supposed to walk you, though." But it's like over here, and it's kind of complicated, so when you're ready to go over there, let me know. Like, no wonder my feet hurt so bad at the end of my shifts in there. Because I walked some miles in that store. Without a doubt. But, every time that we've been in Michael's, the couple that we've been in, I haven't seen anybody, like, asking for help or anything. And I'm like, is it just a quiet part of the day at the moment? Like what happened? We had such needy customers at AC Moore. I kid you not, some of the customers, I almost had to do the thing for them that they were looking for. Like, they almost wanted me to make it for them. And I'm like, what? And they're like, well, I want to do it like this, but like that. And, but I don't know. And I'm like, man. I don't know what to tell you. I can only show you where the item is on the shelf. Like, it's your project. I can only make suggestions. And that's of stuff that I know of. But I can't make the thing for you. Like, that's not how this is gonna go. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Like, that's just not feasible. Dang it. Alright, so we are going to have to, for sure, rethread this needle. Right? Because we still have these two arms and that little guy to go. I don't know why you're being so weird. You're being all fussy here. I'm trying to get the most out of you that I can. So don't want to waste any thread, but at the same time, if you're gonna fight me, then that's no good either. Definitely no good. Alright, I think I'm gonna pop that one off of there. Just because it's getting a little silly there. Been having trouble grabbing this guy. I had to grab my tweezers earlier to try to grab him. Come here, Mingo. I have a little stuffed flamingo that I've been using as a pincushion. Which should shock nobody, but... Alright, so let's see here. Okay, so we are down here currently. We are gonna get some more of this. I should have enough of this. Better have enough of this. Alright. And I mean, we learned stuff by walking the customers to merchandise, but then we would get in trouble if we weren't in our section. I'm like, I am trying to educate myself about how this thing works, okay? About what is over here in this department that the other merchandiser is trying to suggest to this customer, so I know for somebody else. So calm the hell down. It was funny because I merchandise a bit, or did merchandise a bit in that one particular location, and then got thrown up front. A lot of the times, the assistant managers that were there on the weekends, they had to constantly be condensing down the seasonal section, and they were trying to make room for the next stuff coming in, and like we had to color theme. This is how far they would take it. Cannot tell you how much merchandise off the shelves got written off as store use. I cannot even begin to tell you. We would have so many extra rolls of this easel paper that was white. It was being used in the store more than it was being sold. Because that and double-sided scotch tape and white foam board, we had to... We can't see the pegboard on the end caps and in the seasonal section, so the end displays of the aisles. And in seasonal, because stuff would be varying heights, and you might see the back of the pegboard, and oh, the pegboard's ugly. We didn't do this in the aisles of all of the everyday merchandise. It was mostly seasonal and the ends of the aisles that this had to be done in. So we had to take double-sided Scotch tape and make big X's and run it down the edges and the tops and the middle on the pegboard. And the pegboard's the things that, like, the hooks that you pull the merchandise off of go into. I cannot tell you how much time we've wasted doing this. And then the classroom coordinator, if the managers were busy, they would make her do it, because she also did all of the display boards for the entire store. So she really had to be a jack of all trades and figure out what the hell to make out of shit to put on the top to give people ideas of what they could make with the stuff. So we had to take these rolls of paper, and I got to do it when the assistants were like, I ain't fucking doing this. And then I had to get stuck doing it. So then we had to open these tubes of paper. First we had to check the classroom to see if we had any in the storage cabinets that were already open. And if there were, great. If there weren't, then we had a notepad on the office door or in the classroom that we had to write the date, our initials, and what the item was and how much it was, so that they could make a log for store use. And so then we had to open these rolls of paper and smooth it out and tape it to the pegboard, okay? But that wasn't all. It's white. It's glaringly white. So if it was Christmas time in the seasonal section, we then had to waste time and get a sheet of palette paper or a book of palette paper, and wet a sea sponge in the classroom. Grab red and green paint, bring the paint, the sea sponge, and the palette paper out to the sales floor, and then stand there and sponge the white paper, red and green. There could be a little bit of the white background showing, but they just didn't want it solid white. And I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this? Nobody cares. This is such a waste of money. This is a waste of materials, and this is a waste of time. And you know what? It was a huge waste of time, because whoever the poor bastard was that then had to come and do the planogram in that section, you had to feel like we had to count rows in the pegboard for where the pegs or the shelves were supposed to be lined up to make sure that everything was going to fit the way that whoever was in the home office came up with this counter display so that it would mirror that. Except when they're in the home office, they're not fighting with a paper backing on a pegboard. Do you know how much time it took to count the rows through this paper? Like, we had to run our hands on it like it was Braille and try to feel the holes and count the holes down. And God forbid if we messed up after we started putting them in and poking the holes in the paper and had to move the pegs. Or if whoever was managing walked by and they're like, no, I hate that, change that. And then they're like, no, there's too many holes in the pegboard, in the paper, you gotta redo the paper too. I'm like, fucker, how about you redo the paper? I'm like, and you guys want to know why the freight's not done and why the orders aren't done, because you expect everything. Like, I'm not sitting here with my thumb up my ass. Like, And then every single customer that stops us, we have to walk to the merchandise. So, yeah, no, nothing ever got done in a timely manner. Not for me, because I had to regather my thoughts when I got back to what I was doing. And that's if you got to get back to what you were doing right away. Half the time, I'd be walking across the store with a box of merchandise in my hand that I was trying to put out, walking a customer to something. And then, since I'm over there, oh, can you help me? Where's this? And then I have to go to a different part of the store on the other side of it. Back. That's here. Okay, great. Oh, hey, where's this? Somebody else is stopping it. I'm like, oh my God. What is it? Let's go. Like, they hadn't even tried to find it yet. Little people would be walking into the store and they're like, where's this? You didn't even try. I know you didn't try. Because I just saw you walk in the door. At least try. Please, at least try. And then, if I had to take them to something that was up front by the registers, then whoever was running front end would be like, oh, hey, get on the register. I'm like, no, no, no. How about you tell your cashier to stop running her mouth and actually check some people out? Okay, thanks, bye. That would make me so mad. Because the one cashier they had up there during the day. Now, we were supposed to greet the customers. We're supposed to ask them if they found everything okay. But we weren't supposed to have a 15-minute long conversation with each and every customer. And this particular cashier could not refrain. That was not possible for them. She never stopped. And she would be talking so much that then she would be making mistakes while she was ringing up. She was more into her story, and she'd be telling the same story through like 4 different people. So the person she started the story with never heard the end of it. And then the person that she finished that particular conversation with never heard the beginning of it. And I'm like, cashier faster. I have things to do. I am not a cashier first. I am supposed to be merchandising. Oh, but because I had a small department, I was first call. I'm like, yeah, and I'm drowning in freight, and you hear them calling me to register every time I've stepped off of it this morning. And you're gonna be mad that none of my stuff's gotten done? Hello? What the hell you think I've been doing? I'm not one of the employees that dicks around and hides in the stockroom all day. Like, what the actual hell? And then there were times, like, we had a 3-person in line. Another checkout gets opened rule. By the time we would get up there, sometimes, the line would be gone. I'm like, why am I up here? I'm like, do you still need me? And there's like 1 person in the other line. They're like, oh, no, you're good. I'm like, okay. I had to learn to power walk from that job because my department was the furthest from the register. In like the back corner of the store. Like, okay. I loved doing inventory in the stockroom. I hated doing inventory on the sales floor. But Nia, why? Because we still had to deal with customers while we were doing inventory on the sales floor. And a few times they tried to call me to register while I was doing inventory on the sales floor. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, 157, 158, and I'm like, I'm not recounting all of this. I would usually end up paging a manager. I'm like, am I supposed to go up there? Because you guys have me counting crap on the floor. And then they would end up canceling me. They're like, no, you're not supposed to go up there. I'm like, okay, that's what I thought. But I'm also not going to get in trouble. Like, no, we told her not to call you. Like, okay. I mean, it was bad enough that we'd be standing there in our uniform shirts, holding merchandise, counting it, sometimes out loud. Because if we didn't count it out loud, then people would just start talking to us. Oh, hey, do you work here? No. Oh, can you tell me where this is? And I'm like, 1 second. They're like, can you tell me where this is? And I'm like, 1 second. And I'm trying to grab my pen to write down the number I'm on before I forget it. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize you're doing something. Really? Really? I am sitting on the floor, covered in filth and dust bunnies, counting sun catchers in this bin. And suction cups, mind you. We had tubs of suction cups that we also had to count. And I have ripped them all out of the bin, and I am counting them back into the bin. But I don't work here. Okay. It was obvious to tell the inventory team when they were there. You could tell that they didn't work there. Because they had these fancy counting machines hanging from their their waist down on their legs. And they were tapping furiously into them, and they were all dressed the same. And there'd be an employee following them around with a telson to price check stuff for them. Oh, this is such a mood. Yes. Yes, I worked for one of the sister companies before it went under. I worked for AC Moore. They were predominantly on the East Coast at the time. Been there, done that, bought the shirt. And the thing of it was, the job wasn't so bad. The job itself wasn't so bad. I would bitch, but you know. The nuts and bolts of it wasn't so bad. It was your coworkers that made or broke it for you. I had a couple of coworkers that I wanted to just throttle into the wall. And hated working with them. Because I knew those were the nights where I was going to be doing everything. When both of us were supposed to be doing the things. This one particular lady that I had to work front end with. One night. Let's see, I worked with this one on that night. I was off. I had split days off too, so that was fun when I was doing front end supervisor. When I was merchandising, I had Saturday and Sunday off. Unless there was a Moonlight Madness sale, and then I had to come in Sunday at like 5 p.m. to help them get ready for it. And to run register from 6 p.m. to like 10. And then it took us like another hour to clean up. But they did feed us dinner. Or like a snack or something. So there was that, at least. But this one lady, when I was doing front end, they also had me doing cash office on the weekends. So I had to work with her part of Saturday afternoons. She was essentially my relief on Saturdays. And I had to work with her on Wednesday nights. And then I had to work with her the majority of Sunday. She was a trial and a half because she was never where she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be the secondary supervisor for up front. Like, on the weekends when she was there, like, I had to come in and do cash office thingies. I had to reset the tills for the day. I had to make the deposits. And Sundays were usually the days that I had to go through the store damages and write them up, type them into the spreadsheet for the HR lady that ran the office manager. And that was part of the things that I was supposed to do. And then once I got all that done, then I was supposed to go and help out up front with breaks and stuff. And I was there from like 7:30 in the morning to like 3:30 in the afternoon on Sundays. And then Saturdays I was there from like 7 to 3. She was supposed to come in at 1:30. So I had to make sure she got her break before I left on both days, her lunch break. I kid you not, she would be gone for 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm like, where in the flipping frick is she? I need to go clock out. I am going to get screamed at for overtime. Where is she? And I start paging her. And I start paging her. I'm like, so-and-so to the front. So-and-so to the front. Oh, I was helping a customer. How long have you been back? Like 20 minutes? When you're supposed to be up front, we're supposed to hand them off to somebody else, not have a 2-hour conversation with them on the floor. You know I have to leave. Like, oh my God, woman. There was one weekend in particular that I got in so much trouble for something that wasn't my fault. They were real big about no overtime, right? Like, we all worked like 39 and a half hours a week, you know, like, not enough to get benefits, but, you know, enough to be full-time. And, that half-hour lunch, man. And, like, 2/3 of the year, no overtime. Absolutely no overtime. We can't have overtime. Can't have overtime. Okay. Except when there was the vendor show. We were the Atlantic City store, or the Atlantic City area store. Wasn't specifically in Atlantic City, but they had the conventions in Atlantic City. So there would be this huge vendor show over there. And we were the showcase store. So the store had to be spot on perfect. Perfect. One of the owner's daughters was the HR office manager for that location, which I have thoughts about on that. Her husband was the store manager of that location for quite some time. He was okay when he was in a good mood. If he was pissed off, then forget about it. He had some anger management issues, shall we say. Whenever we had these shows coming up, no holes, but we couldn't spread fill either. So no holes. They would have us on the phone when I was merchandising with the vendors the second we placed the order, like with, not the literal second, but sometimes as soon as they transmitted the orders, they're like, get on the phone and call them. We need that second day aired. They would spend money on 2-day airing large shipments in when they could get away with it, and then the companies are like, no, we can't do that. We're not doing that. We need this authorized. And you don't have the authorization. We need to speak to someone higher than you. And I'm like, well, then why the hell is he telling me to call them when he's gonna have to talk to them anyway? So apparently one order, one of the other merchandisers had been in the office, and he had been in a bad mood that day. Um, Somebody was on the phone with a vendor, and they turned around and told him, they're like, so they're saying that they can't 2-day this? That they're just not able to, and it's going to take like 2 weeks to get here. He got so mad, he picked up one of the, like, large office phones. They had, like, 2 rows of hold buttons on it. It was, like, maybe this big. No, his was bigger. Like, this big. Picked it up and threw it across the room, and it hit the wall in the office. And, she had not been in a great previous marriage that she had gotten out of, and so that really upset her. And she's like, nobody go in the office. Nobody go in the office. She was crying. She was upset. She was shaking. She's like, nobody go in the office. I'm telling you right now. I personally witnessed a shipment, or him freak out when a shipment didn't show up. We were waiting on an order of, what the hell are they called? Pot perchers. These little ceramic animals. Not even ceramic. They were like this cheap ass resin shit that had these little feet on them. A lot of them were birds, some of them were frogs. They'd hang off the tops of your clay pots or whatever. You know, just little tchotchkes to put on there. Because they're cute. We had a whole table display of them. We had a vendor show coming in. We were a minute and a half from opening the doors for the day. We had just finished our meeting up front. And FedEx had just finished their delivery. He had just finished having the meeting with us. I kid you not. The assistant manager that had unloaded the truck got on the PA because we hadn't opened yet, and he said that the name of the company wasn't there for the order of these stupid little pot percher thingies that we were waiting on. It wasn't there. Didn't show up. He lost his shit. The table display down the main aisle that you walk in after you come through the doors, where these things were set up. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I don't think he was thinking at all. Something that we had limited stock on for this show. He walked by it, saw the stacks of terracotta pots and these things sticking out of them, took his hand and went BAM! Right across the edge of the table and sent a good 3 to 4 rows of them flying across the sales floor. And all of us that were behind him were like, oh my god, we're about to open. Oh my god. And the lady whose department it was, she was like crying, and she was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And we're all trying to rush to help her to sweep it all up because the doors were opening, and we're like, why would you fucking do that when we're short on the item? He had some issues. And then he became our district manager. That's fun. It was fun in the sense that we all were able to breathe a little bit because he wasn't in the store every day. It wasn't fun on the days that he decided to show up. But our location always had to be picture perfect because the owner lived 15-20 minutes from the store. And we never knew if he was going to pop in either. That was always fun too. So this one weekend, to get back to my story, for me getting into trouble for something that wasn't my fault. This particular coworker that made my life hell a lot of the time, she was the Saturday afternoon, Saturday night front-end supervisor. Like I said, I was supposed to be out of there 3 o'clock in the afternoon. See you tomorrow morning. And the store manager, not the anger management issue guy, this was the store manager that took over for him when that guy became district manager. He walked up front and he had a look on his face, and I'm busy running my line, and I'm like, where's so-and-so? He's like, yeah, I was about to ask you that. He goes, have you heard from her? I'm like, no, I would have passed the call to you. I would have told you. I'm like, where is she? Has no one heard from her? The assistant manager that was on hadn't heard from her. Store manager hadn't heard from her. And I physically didn't take any calls from her. I'm like, I'm not going to take somebody's call out. I'm not a manager. I do enough shit to be a manager, but I don't want keys. So fuck that noise. And I'm not working 80 hours a week in fourth quarter and not getting paid overtime. Fuck that too. So, I kid you not, fourth quarter, some of our managers were working 80 hours a week. Like, they practically slept at the store. They might have been better rested if they had, to be perfectly honest. But they all looked like death for the entire fourth quarter. But you'll get your snack roll in a minute. Dog's being pissy. He wants a snack. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He goes, I can't have an assistant manager tied up on register, my only assistant manager for the night, tied up on register the entire night, when I have a store full of minors that are my employees for the night. I think he had one, maybe two adults that were 18 or over on that shift for that night. Everybody else was under 18, high schoolers. And one of them had severe ADHD and could be a handful at times to wrangle. I know it wasn't his fault. I know it wasn't his fault. But that kid put me through some shit too. But, he wouldn't stay in his register, and I kept getting yelled at because I didn't know where he was, because they're like, where's so-and-so? And I looked up, he was at his, and he's gone. I'm like, where the fuck did he go? Like, I didn't even hear him walk away. And I got yelled at, and I'm like, I'm gonna staple your shoes to the bottom of this mat in this register so you can't leave. He goes, I'll just take them off. And I'm like, I was having such a bad day. I'm like, that was not the thing to say. I just kind of looked at him. I'm like, don't do that. And, so the store manager's like, can you stay tonight? At least until she shows up. I'm like, dude, I got a date tonight. I have plans. I'm supposed to go to dinner with my fiance. He's expecting me to be home at a certain time, and we are going to go out on a date because we have not both been home at the same time in so long. And he's like, please. He goes, I can't. He has to be on the floor to watch the kids to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, you could come out of the office and keep an eye on them. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. And I'm like, oh, so you mean you're going to have to do some work tonight? Oh. And I was like, really, guy? Really? So you just want to hide in the office all night. You don't actually want to deal with the teenagers. That's what it is. And I'm like, no. And he's like, please. Then he got down on his knees and was begging me in front of customers while I'm ringing out people, trying to get the cash drawer ready for shift change. And I'm like, dude, I was like, fine, but you owe me. You owe me so bad. He goes, nope. He goes, that's fine. He goes, that's fine. Anything, we'll figure it out later. He goes, that's fine. And I'm like, I need a second dinner break that I'm going to have to take now. I'm going to need a 15-minute break. And I need to call my house so somebody knows why I haven't gotten off the bus. And they're like, yeah. He's like, that's fine. That's fine. He's like, go ahead and go to dinner. I'm like, all right. Called my house. Told him what was going on. It turned out the husband got called into work anyway. So I was like, all right, well, now I don't feel as bad about missing our date night because he ended up having to go into work anyway. So I'm like, okay, all right, fine. Mind you, I had been in at 7 a.m. I got to the store by like 6:45, waiting for one of the managers to show up to unlock the door so I could get in and start my shit. Because they had to unlock the safe because I could never remember the safe combination. And they had the keys to the office and keys to the front doors and the alarm codes and all that shit. All the shit I didn't want. And so I had been up since probably 5:45, 6 a.m. Okay. I worked to close the night before, which was 9. The store closed at 9 that night because we weren't in. Wait, were we in fourth quarter? No, it was nice out. So yeah, no, closing was at 9. I probably got home by like 10, 10:30. No, we closed at 9. It took us like a good half an hour to 45 minutes to get the store zoned and to double check all of the aisles. Why is this not? It was awful. I think by the time I got home, got myself fed, and fell asleep, I think it was after 1. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I was exhausted. And then they want me to come in and play make cash deposits. Okay. So that was the shift that I had just did. So I had been there since 7 a.m. And now they wanted me to stay until close. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a 14.5 hour day. I'm like, I'm tired. My brain is mush. You owe me. You have no idea how bad you owe me. Cause I need notice about this shit. Like, I do not want to do this short notice. Sorry, I had to get the needle threader out because that was just not behaving. So I'm like, all right, fine. I think we got out of there about. It was trashed that night. Because the miners could only stay until like 9:50. They had to be out before 10 o'clock because of the labor laws, and we could not get dinged for it. As it was, I felt so we had great kids that worked there, except they fucked us over without meaning to. So because of the labor laws, like they had to have a 30-minute break. They had to be out for 30 minutes. And these kids had come in at like 5 o'clock and they were there until like till closing. They had to be out before 10. They got a half an hour break. It wasn't such a big deal during the week when they were working the short closing shift. The weekend, though, they would come back from break because they would like run down or get pizza or Burger King or whatever they went to go eat. When they came back, they would see the lines crazy long, and I had as many registers open as I had people to shove in them. And we would be drowning up front. And they felt so bad, they were punching back in to come up and help us. And they were fucking us over because they weren't out for the full 30 minutes and they'd be out like 29 minutes, 28 minutes. And when they did our audit, they're like, they were fining us because they weren't out for the full 30. When they didn't mean to fuck us over, but they felt so bad that they wanted to help and accidentally fucked us over. So we had to start giving them 45-minute breaks on the weekends. That's a long time when we are slammed in the middle of Saturday afternoon. Like, our slam time started at like 11:30 in the morning Saturday, and we were rocking till like 4:30. It was nuts. It was crazy. And that's when everybody would go and steal all of the jewelry shit. because I'd be paging everybody up front. And so the girl that worked that department, she'd go back and come back up. She'd like, I found all of this, and her hands would be full of bags of jewelry clasps that were, you know, the 14 karat gold, the 10 karat gold, you know, that were on, they were probably plated, but you know, that were hanging up that were expensive, and like the bags of the glass beads of like the little shapes and stuff, just handfuls of it. And I'm like, oh my God. And we had cameras up, but nobody was in the office watching the camera. We didn't have a dedicated asset protection team. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck is the point of the goddamn camera? But there's some other stories with that too. So I do this double, right? He's grateful. He's so happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like, I'm pissed now, right? Because my day has just been completely fucked over. Had to work a double. Had to be in the next morning at 7:30. So I had to do another one of these back-to-back bullshits. And I'm like, I was like, this isn't fair. I was like, why the fuck did I agree to this? The only other time that I agreed to doing that shit was Black Friday weekend, when we were allowed to have so much overtime. I was so mad. I come in. It's a different assistant manager this morning who lets me in. He goes, what's with you? I'm like, I'm exhausted. I've got a headache. I don't want to be here. I want to go the fuck home. I'm like, and so I'm telling him about what happened the day before. He's like, I'm like, yeah. So I'm in the office. I'm locked in the back office. We had a regular office, and then there was like a small closet-sized back office that I'm locked into, working on the deposit and working on getting the registers reset. I'm sitting there counting out a register drawer when all of the sudden the inner office door slammed open and hit the wall and scared the fucking shit out of me. I jumped about 10 feet. Like what the fuck? And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And the office manager is standing there fuming and starts screaming at me. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, I've been here a half an hour. What the fuck did I do? And she starts yelling at me. She's like, you need to be clocked out the second you are done back here. No ifs, ands, or buts, no exceptions. We cannot have overtime this week. And I guess they were checking payroll from home. I guess they logged into the computers or the portals at home. I was like, what? She goes, you worked at 14 hours yesterday. We don't have the payroll for that. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, stop. Wait a minute. I didn't stay because I felt like it. Okay? I wasn't bored and didn't have anything to do. You know, it's not I didn't stay because I wanted to. Okay? I don't just make those decisions on my own. Okay? I was asked to stay. I was begged to stay by store manager. It's on camera. If you go back, you can see him up front at customer service on his knees pleading with me to stay. I did not want to stay last night. He begged me. Okay? He begged me. Yeah, and he's in trouble too. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, all right, fine. Fine. I was like, do you want me to go now? You're here. She's like, no, you're going to finish this and then you are leaving. Immediately. You need to hurry up and get done. And I was like, oh my God. She was pissed. I'd never seen her that angry. And never that angry at me. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, this is the last time I do anybody a freaking favor. Absolutely not. No. I'm like, fuck that noise. I am not getting in trouble. And I'm like, how am I in trouble when the manager asked me to stay? I was like, what in the fucking hell just happened? So I'm upset. My hands are shaking now, and I still have to finish counting down registers. And then she left. I'm like, this couldn't have been a phone call. She was that pissed. Now, I don't know if she had something else that she had to do that she drove in to deal with, but she was that pissed that she came in when she could have called from home and told me to leave as soon as I was done. Like, that would have been sufficient. I guess she just had to scream in my face. I don't know, unless she was there to get something else and just decided to scream at me. I'm like, since when have I ever took it upon myself to just stay? Like, what? Are you kidding me? I don't like you all that much. I'm here for a fucking paycheck. I'm just not gonna give myself overtime because I fucking feel like it. Didn't ask why I stayed. I guess she was looking for store manager. I don't know if she realized he wasn't in yet, because it was just the assistant at that time. I think he might have come in later. Or maybe it was just the two assistants that day. Sunday, it might have just been both assistants. And, yeah, you know what? I think it was. Because my hands were shaking. I was so upset. I was almost crying. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And the one assistant comes up. He goes, have you heard from so-and-so? The same chick from last night. I'm like, don't even. And he's like, she's not here yet. Because he came to get the tills to put them in the front registers. Because she wasn't there. And I just looked at him and I'm like, huh. I was like, oh no. Oh no. So he had to take the registers and quick start putting them in. So he was running the front end while I was quickly trying to get the deposit together. I paged for one of them to come to the back office to verify the deposit and to verify the safe. And it actually, maybe store manager did come in that day. He might have come in because I said, well, I'm in trouble. He goes, yeah, I got in trouble too. So I do remember him telling me that. And he was pissed. And I'm like, well, I have to leave now. And he goes, yeah, I know. So yeah, you know what? He did come in that day. And he verified everything. And I clocked out. And it was 11 a.m. I walked up front. This coworker was still nowhere to be seen. No one had heard from her. And this is day number 2 now. And the assistant manager that's in my spot on customer service sees me walking out the door and he goes, yo, get back here. Where are you going? I was like, I have to leave. I was told I had to go home. And he was pissed. He's like, you're fucking kidding me? I was like, talk to so-and-so. And I was like, I am so done with this shit. I am so done. You know what? Y'all don't fucking pay me enough for this shit to get screamed at for doing you a favor and staying and being your front end person because your front end person didn't show up. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was so upset. Like, this is not right. I think I ended up with like a half an hour of overtime. Maybe, if that. It might not have even been that. It might have just been on the nose for 40. And I'm like, you know what? I took the bus home and my mom saw me walk in the door. She's like, what the fuck are you doing home early? I was like, I got told to leave. I was like, you know, the shit they put me through in that store was awful. And I didn't know any better because I needed my job, right? I didn't have any other job options at the time. I was they made me their head front end supervisor. I'm like, okay. I was like the one person they trusted to run the front end. And I'm like, okay. I didn't get a pay increase for it. And I'm like, you're making me do more work, but you're not going to pay me for it. Okay. Then, oh, come to find out, the coworker that was missing for 2 days, I think she missed another day. So that 3 no call, no show should have been a fireable offense, but they let it go because her phone was broken and she was sick. She wasn't sick, she was hungover. And I can tell you she was hungover. Um, but that woman got away with bloody murder because she was the store snitch. She would buddy up to all of the high schoolers and they would tell her shit. And then she would run and tell the office manager slash HR in the store all of the things. So you had to watch what you said around her. And she could do no wrong whatsoever. But then they got it, like, we were also a training location. We were to be specific, we were a management training location for the chain. I think we had stores at that time from Maine. I think we were just starting to get some in northern Florida. Maybe South Carolina. Somewhere in there. We were slowly expanding down the East Coast. At the time I was there. So we always, well, not always, but we had a good amount of managers rotating, assistant managers rotating through the store that were training to become either assistant managers for other locations or training to become store managers. It might have been assistants for other locations because they tried to offer me assistant manager, but they said I was going to have to go to North Carolina to train to become an assistant manager because something about you couldn't train to become an assistant at the store you were going to work at, which I thought was weird. And I'm like, well, I'm not moving down to North Carolina and uprooting myself for the shit. And I don't want to work 80-hour work weeks through fourth quarter. No, I'm good. Thanks. Like, no, I'm good, bro. And that's a bit much. And you know, I'm dyslexic. I can't remember security codes and all that shit. I would be typing it in backwards and not even realizing and having alarms constantly going off and not understanding why when I typed the thing in how it was written down. I don't want any of that shit. So they decided these managers in training had to learn how to do the front end. They had to learn how to do purchase orders. They had to learn how to process returns. They had to learn how to deal with the cashiers and their needs and all of the front end things. Okay? They definitely had to learn how to process returns. The one day I come in and office manager lady says, clock in, I need to talk to you. I'm like, oh fuck, what the fuck did I do now? And she's like, we have a couple managers in here training. You're the only one that's allowed to train them. They are to be upfront with you. Like this one particular person, she's like, they need to be upfront with you for the remainder of the day while you're here. And I'm like, okay. I found that odd, and it made me wonder what happened. Because we had a front end supervisor that was there all morning. She was one of the chatty ones whose mistakes I had to fix every single night, multiple nights, constantly between her and the day cashier. I'm like, how are you still a front end supervisor? I can't even make sense of this receipt you did. Did you give this person their $5 birthday coupon or not? Because it looks like you put it on and then you took it off and then you put it on and then you took it off. And I don't think you ever put it back on. And I'm like, I had to get manager approval on that. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. Among other things. So I was like, okay. So I got up front. She's like, I will bring them up to you in a minute. I was like, okay. So I had to verify our change drawer. As I was coming in, I had to write up the new change order. Or at least see if we needed to refill our change drawer. And I was settling in. The other one was going to lunch, who I was relieving, that had been there all day. Office manager lady comes up with manager in training in tow. Introduces us. She's like, all right, I'm on my way out. I've got stuff I have to go take care of. She goes, I'm out for the day. I'm like, all right. She goes, you're going to be training with her until you leave? And the guy goes, okay. I showed him how to do a couple of things. He was with me for maybe... let's see, I got there at 1:30. I think she brought him up around 2. Maybe 2:30, and then... I think he bailed out with me at like 3:15. He was like, oh, I forgot, I have to go do something. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll be back as soon as I'm done that thing. And I'm like, okay. It's no skin off my nose. Like, motherfucker ever. This is where I'm gonna be. I was like, I'll be here. I had to go to break. When did I go to break? I went to break at 3:30 because there was usually 2 of us running front end at night. Usually. We weren't usually the only one up there. We usually had someone else. So we had to, our nighttime cashiers that were adults came in at 1:30. So I had to send them on their break. And then when they got back, then I'd be going on my break. And breaks had to be done by 4:30 because we did shift change at like 4:30, 4:45. Getting ready for the evening crew to come in. So, dude wandered away. 3:30 came around. Well, time for me to go lunch. So, I went on my break. My dinner, I guess. And, I saw the manager putzing around on the floor doing something. It looked like they were putting out freight. But I wasn't certain. They had a stack of papers in their hand and they were looking at something. I'm like, are they doing a planogram? Why are they helping the framing merchandiser? They're supposed to be running front end. And at that point I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I do not get paid enough. I made $9.50 an hour when I left that place. It was not fucking enough. And, I can tell you that much. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going on lunch. She didn't want anyone else training this guy. I don't know why. But you know what? Fuck it. Went on my break. Came back from my break. Got settled back in. Getting closer to shift change. Still haven't seen the guy since I've been back. I thought, well, maybe he came back. I don't know if I'm supposed to page him up here now that I'm back. He's a grown-ass adult. He's been told what he needs to do. What the fuck ever. I'm doing my thing. Phone rings. Pick it up. Thank you for calling AC Moore. So-and-so. How can I help you? Where's so-and-so? And it's the office manager. She goes, is so-and-so up there? I was like, nope. Haven't seen him since before I went to break. A little while after you left, he said he forgot he had to do something, and I haven't seen him since. She's like, put him on the phone now. And I was like, okay. So I paged him to pick up the phone, and I guess she yelled at him. He came back a little while later, seeming a little bit flustered. And I think he was up there with me from that point on, learning shift change. Like, he was up there until the actual assistant for that store did the shift change and was counting down tills and logging where we were at so far, and if it was short and how much it was short at that point in the night before the next thing came, for the next crew came in, because we didn't have tills per person necessarily, which I think was bad. I think everybody should have had their own specific till. But with the way that people got paged up to register all willy-nilly throughout the day, you were assigned a register for the day. But that didn't stop somebody else from getting on the wrong register. It was very possible for a manager to decide that they were going to help, or an assistant manager decide that they were going to help get the line down real quick and just pick a random register and get on it, whether that had been used or not. Like, we kept a list at the front end customer service desk of who was on what register. So that way, if there was a problem and they asked us who was on there, we could tell them. But, and I mean, they would see the register codes too of who was on, operating the receipts from the charge slips and what have you. Because our charge receipts we just put under the till. And we had to collect them by hand at the end of the night. That was fun. And we had to paperclip all of the credit card receipts, the signed copies from this. Okay, this was before pin pads, guys. The customers, we ran the card through our registers. We gave them a receipt they had to sign, whether it was debit or not. And then we took the signed copy and slipped it in our till. So in case they tried to dispute the charge, you were here. Was this your signature? It was signed for. So, well before pin pads. And, he was there, and then they all left, the, managers in training left at 6. Usually they were there for a couple of months. I don't remember seeing him anymore after that. I don't know if he got moved to a different store or if he quit. I don't know. I don't know. He was there. Damn it. And then he wasn't. But, I mean, some of the assistants that were training, they were there maybe 3 months? 2 months? No. 3 to 6 months. Some people were only there for like 2 weeks and then I never saw them again. So I don't know if they were getting refreshers or what happened there, but I don't know if they ended up washing out. I don't know if they decided to move them to a different training area. I don't know. But that place, man. Like I said, I didn't mind the job to a degree. I liked some aspects of it. I did. But your managers and your coworkers make or break the situation. I did not care for the office manager. I don't think the family members should have been working at store level at all. In the warehouse, there was tons of them working in the main office warehouse. I think the owner's wife was one of the buyers for the store. And she, and I think a couple other people, there might have been another daughter. They had a huge family. They were constantly going on trips to China to pick out flowers from vendors, silk flowers for the store. They were all the time. From what I understand, they were constantly doing those trips. And then her one daughter, the office manager's one daughter, when she got to be 16, I think that was working age in New Jersey. I think you could get away, was it? I think you could get away with it at 15 if you had some kind of paperwork signed off on. It might have been parent, like there might have been another set of forms aside from working papers that the teenagers needed. I wasn't part of the hiring process, so, but certain things with it, like I know they needed certain documentation. But, the one, yeah, her one kid was doing birthday parties on the weekends because we had a party room so that this dog, so that, oh, did he eat?
Shh, yes, the bowls are empty. They both ate.
Then he's still hungry.
I seriously have your third dinner. All right, old man. All right.
He's doing his
Take it down a
motorcycle
notch.
impression back there.
Take down a notch.
But
I mean,
you know,
more, yeah, you guys clean your bowls. All right.
I think she ended up dealing with the birthday parties that were scheduled on the weekends so that the classroom coordinator didn't have to come in on the weekend and deal with it, and be there for a couple of hours because they needed supervision and they got to do a craft and they got to use our classroom for a little bit. And then she was supposed to cashier if there weren't any parties going on. Did I use it? Hang on. Did I? I thought I had another bit of thread thrown to the side, but I don't see it. These are little scrappy doos. Okay, I must have used it. But again, preferential treatment, so she didn't always do what she was supposed to do. Sometimes she would. A lot of the time she would, but there were other times where she was just doing whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need a cashier, but alright. Like, it, that store had such preferential treatment depending on how long you were there and what you did. Because a lot of those people, if they weren't day oneers from that location opening, it was close to it. Like, a lot of them transitioned through hand pricing everything to the scanning system. I was there for part of that. When I first started working there. God, when did I first start? I started working there in 99. And they were still hand pricing like everything because we had price guns. They had the little tickets in them and the little inky rolls, and man, those fuckers were a pain in the ass to load. Like, and God help you if you had to replace the ink roller. You got more ink on your hands than you did trying to get that in there, and then it just had to wear off, so that was fun. But you know, some of the ones that were there for forever definitely got special treatment. When I left there, I left there twice, actually. Once I changed locations. I'd had a friend that convinced me to move in with her because things weren't great where I was at and I didn't have the money to move out, and parents were fighting. She's like, oh, you can come live with me, it'll be so much fun. And I like warned her. I told her of all the realities that it was going to be because I didn't drive at the time. I'm like, you'll have to drop me off at work unless there's a bus that I can take. Yeah, that's fine. And they're like, we weren't close enough for me to walk to the location that I transferred to, and I don't think there was a bus that I could take at the time. She's like, no, it's fine, I'll take you. I was like, you're sure this isn't going to be a problem? No, it's fine. It was a problem. But I had transferred out to a different location and I was learning how to merchandise the flower department. And I was starting to learn some things. And it was difficult because I knew no one in the store. That particular location was extremely cliquey, and I was the outsider. So apparently this department had a curse on it because they couldn't keep anyone in there. Everybody that they got left, and I don't know. I mean, if they treated everybody the way I was treated, I can see why nobody was staying. But they had one girl doubling between her department and the silk flower department. And it was a good deal of work, and there was so much overstock. Like the flower racks, how to explain this? So there was like they were kind of like house-shaped floral racks. So they kind of came down at like a roof line triangle to a point, and then they were flat, and then they like went straight down. So on each side, it would stair step down to a point, and then it would just be the rest of the side of the rack that went straight to the floor. So, and then you'd have these cones. No, those weren't the cones. They were slots. And they'd be of a certain depth, and you would stick the flowers down in there, and sometimes you had to take the wrapping paper and crinkle it all up and shove it down in the hole, depending on how long the stems were on the flowers. So if it was a short stem, you really had to pack it so they would sit up and didn't all fall down to the bottom so you couldn't see them. But inside these racks, these house-shaped pieces, if you will, there were on each end of these rows of flowers. In the middle, there were just cones that the flowers would sit in, but in between there were these two racks. Well, you could move the rack at the very end that covered this house-shaped thing. It was just a straight square. You could move it. I mean, it also had flowers in it, but you could slide it out. It was on roller feet. And you could access storage for overstock. There was so much effing overstock of flowers. Every single storage area was packed with flowers, and I didn't know what they were. Brand new to the floral department. I had been trying to learn a little bit from the merchandiser in the store that I was in before I left, but every time I was asking her questions, the store manager started yelling at me, even though I was done all of my shit and it was like 5 minutes before we were leaving for the day. And I'm like, I'm just asking her a question. And it's about the store. I'm not over here dicking around. I'm trying to learn something. And so she would kind of teach me a few things here and there. In all honesty, I probably should have called her more and been like, help me. They had no one to train me on how to do my job. They knew I did not know this department, but I was willing to try. I knew how to fluff the flower bushes. I knew how to stick them in the racks so that they stood up straight, because there was a specific way that you had to line them up so that they weren't just like angle shoved in there so that they would fall out. There was a specific way to put them in. And I could do that. I could fluff the bushes and everything to make them look pretty and full and all that. I could do that. I also was not familiar with this store manager. And after the trauma of the previous store manager I had had, I was terrified of a new store manager because I had no idea what I was in store for. I had nobody walking through ordering with me. I think my first or second week there was a bush sale. The store manager had come around, and I think the assistant manager for that area, he might have also been newer to that set of departments as well. I think. Because store manager comes by, he goes, are we okay? And I'm like, yeah. And he handed me the printout of what sold last year around this time, and I'm like, okay. I don't really know the names to the flowers, but okay. I guess we can figure it out through the SKUs. It's gonna take me a while to figure this out, but okay. And he said to me, no overstock. And I paused and I looked at him, I said, no overstock? He's like, yeah, no. He's like, you can't have any overstock. No one had even shown me where the overstock belonged in the stockroom for that department. No one had shown me. The assistant manager that was over me didn't show me. I thought the only overstock, because it was a much smaller store than the one I had been in. So nobody even showed me the stockroom, to be perfectly honest, where it was. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking back to my location that I had just come from, and I'm like, no overstock. I'm like, but we had shelves and shelves and shelves for overstock for our bushes. We even had rolling carts that we were keeping the seasonal bushes on and the garlands and stuff. so that they could be filled easier. And I'm like, I kind of gave him a funny look, and I'm like, no overstock. He says, absolutely no overstock. And I'm like, okay. We ordered from our warehouse 3 days a week. It was coming into, I think it was a Wednesday, and we were ordering for Friday. And so we had a sale on specific, I think it was specific bushes that weekend. And the display tables were right there as you walked in the door, like right there in your face. And it was very tight. There was like barely a shopping cart with room down the aisle between the table and the side counters. I'm like, okay, no overstock. So, God damn it, keep coming up through the wrong hole. And I'm like standing there with paperwork in my hand, and I'm like, how am I don't know how much to order here. And so I'm trying to guess how much is going to sell between now and Friday. I had never done a flower order to get through a weekend, let alone a sale weekend. First time doing this. Did it cross anyone's mind to help me? Nope. Sink or swim, baby. Sink or swim. And I ordered to fill the racks. The bush racks, the table, the flower racks. I ordered to fill. Came in Friday morning, put everything out. I think that's when they showed me where the stockroom was so I could throw the cardboard away. And, or throw it in the baler. Did my shit, went home. Came in Monday morning. The store manager was a calm angry when he saw me. And that's never a good thing in my experience. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? He had me clock in, and he's like, come with me after you put your stuff down. I'm like, okay. Put my stuff away. Came down. I was clocked in. I was like, yeah. He's like, walk with me. I was like, okay. He walked me up to the front where the first flower tables were as you come in the door. He goes, do you notice anything different? And I'm standing there and I'm looking, and it probably took me longer to answer than he was wanting. And I looked really confused. I'm like, this flower looks different than what was here when I left on Friday. He goes, yes. Do you know why it's different? And I'm like, why are we playing these games? Just fucking tell me. And I'm like, no, you changed your mind. You decided you wanted something else here over the weekend. The part-timer filled it with something else. I don't know. I wasn't here. How about you tell me? And he's like, we ran out of the sale bush that was on the table. We didn't have any in the stockroom. And I said, stop. And he looked at me. I said, you told me no overstock. You said absolutely no overstock when I ordered. And he stopped and he looked at me and he thought about it for a minute. And he's like, well, I didn't mean on the sale stuff. I was like, you didn't say that. You said absolutely no overstock. The store I was in, when they said no overstock, they meant no overstock. Nothing was going to the back. We had such a problem in our back room that if we had anything going to the back, the store manager had to physically see what it was and then would read us the riot act and interrogate us about why it was going to the back and why it wasn't fitting on the shelf. It was awful. And I'm like, no. You're not going to be snippy and angry at me when I did exactly what you said. Maybe this is where the autism side should have been a little bit more apparent, because I took him literally. And I was like, you told me no overstock. I said, I don't even know where the overstock is for the flowers in the storeroom. And then he walked me back and showed me. He goes, okay, so when there's sale stuff, you can, then he's like, he realized he fucked up after I explained it to him, and I'm like, look, I'm new here. Okay? I don't know how to read you. I don't know exactly what you mean. If you tell me no overstock whatsoever, I'm not going to order you enough or what I think might be enough to get through the weekend. I'm going to order you exactly what I think will sell between this delivery and this delivery. And that's it. And then he showed me where I could put the sale overstock stuff. And then explained to me, okay, well, on this stuff, we can have overstock on. But only on the sale stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. See, this is what communication is. I was like, these are conversations we need to have. Because I'm new, remember? I don't know you. I'm not familiar with you. We have never worked together before. I don't know what you mean. And the other girl that's been covering this department certainly didn't come and check in on me at all. I haven't seen her. She's been giving me dirty looks in the break room. That's all I can tell you. I kind of know her name, but she kind of scared me and intimidated me even though I was older than her. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I was afraid to ask her anything. And, fuck all for asking the assistant manager that was supposed to be, helping me. I never saw him. Like, the one day the store manager's like, so, you know, has so-and-so checked in with you? I said, nope. He's like, what do you mean, no? I'm like, I haven't seen him. I think I saw him for 10 minutes walking by me. Haven't seen him. I've been on my own trying to figure the shit out and trying to make sense of these floral racks and trying to clean them. And I kid you not, they had a buyer for the flower department from the home office coming in one day a month to help train me, taking time out of her busy schedule to come in and try to train me and check in with me and trying to teach me how to do the flower change outs and stuff. And she's like, and you can leave, you know, this is how we're gonna clean the racks. I'm like, okay. And she's like, and you can leave notes for the part-timer that works in this department, so they know where you left off, so that, you know, if you didn't finish a certain thing, you can leave them a note, and then they can pick up from there, so they know what you've done during the day. And I'm like, okay. I was like, that's cool. That makes sense. No problem. I can work with that. Except, apparently I was very much the outsider and not welcome in this store. Because the first night I did that, the one lady that worked on the flower arrangements, like, a couple people like, oh, don't talk to her. She's a nosy busybody. She's always up in everybody's business. You don't want to be friendly with her. She was the only one that would talk to me. She was the only one that would even remotely help me, remotely tell me anything. And y'all are telling me that I shouldn't be associating with her. I shouldn't talk to her. She's the only one that will talk to me. None of you are making an effort. No one wants to talk to the weird new girl. Okay, fine. If I'm stuck and need help with something, I'm going to ask somebody. And she's the one that's right there and has been here and at least has been adjacent to this department. None of you all want to be bothered with me, so I'm going to ask. So I left a note for the part-timer. I'm like, hey, I got to this rack here, about halfway down. I didn't have time to finish cleaning that. If you could pick up from there, that would be great. I wasn't demanding. I wasn't mean. I wasn't nasty. In my note, it was like, hey, could you pick up here? Apparently, the floral designer, who I had been starting to become friendly with, was there when the part-timer came in. The part-timer read the note, and according to the floral designer, almost quit on the spot because I asked her to do something. I was like, are you fucking serious? She's like, yeah, she had a hissy fit that you left her a note asking her to do something, and she almost quit. I was like, what the hell is wrong with the people in this store? Like, I can see why y'all can't keep anybody in this department if this is how everybody's gonna behave. This is ridiculous. And so I'm feeling like I'm drowning. I'm feeling like I am doing such a horrible job. I'm so alone. I have no friends except for my roommate, who was quickly becoming not my friend. And, if they ever really were, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm like, I was drowning. Mentally, emotionally, directionally. I'm like, I don't. So then the store manager's like, okay, so since you're so new, I have set up a field trip for you and the assistant manager, who is new to this part of the store, I guess. He's like, you all are going to go to store X, and you're going to meet with their floral department merchandiser. You're going to tour their store, see how they've got their tables set up, get a feel for how they've got things going. They had fuck tons more room than our store did. It was brighter. You could actually see the floor, not fall over anything. Like, you had room for activities and in their floral department. And when I got there, and I'm like, how do you even compare these two? And I'm like, okay, right, sure. And I'm trying to make some mental notes of how they're doing the things, and how they're going about the cleaning of racks and staying on top of everything. And like, okay, so I'm trying. I was making an effort. I really was. And then we had to go out to lunch, which was super awkward, with that merchandiser. And I'm like, okay. And then we went back to our store, and I'm trying to like look at our tables and try to figure out how to do the things that they had done in the other store when they had so much more room for elaborate table displays and all of the things. And I'm like, okay. At some point, I stopped seeing the assistant manager again. What little I did see of him. Come to find out, he ended up unaliving himself. And I'm like, oh my god, are you serious?
You never fucking told me that.
Yeah. Jeez. I'm like, what is going on with this store? What is happening? Yeah, the store manager ended up telling me. So then I didn't even have an assistant manager to help me. And everything was becoming oh so much. And we had a weekly meeting, and it was like super awkward. And, he was going over sales reports for each of the departments, and I'm like, okay. I actually somehow managed to turn that department around and had an increase in sales for like a month and a half after like being there for like 2 or 3 months. And the department was starting to look up. It was starting to make money over the previous year. And that store manager was so excited. he was so happy. Like, he made such a big deal of it in the one meeting, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't like everybody looking at me now when you all hate me, and I can feel that you all hate me. I don't know why you all hate me, because I don't know any of you. I really wish you wouldn't hate me. I'm high. And he was so excited. And I couldn't take it there anymore, and ended up leaving because there was a bunch of drama with my roommate, and my roommate was making life insufferable on top of it. So between that and work, and they're like, well, we've got a special sale this weekend, you have to be here for it. And I'm like, I don't have a way to get here. My ride is out of town. And then my ride was like, oh, well, you can have my boyfriend's mom, you can ask her to take you once or twice. I'm like, I don't know your boyfriend's mom. No, I'm not asking her. That's ridiculous. And then, she didn't want to take me to work anymore, and I couldn't take the bus because there wasn't a bus route from the apartment to there. And I'm like, I ended up transferring. I ended up leaving. I didn't actually transfer. I'm like, I just ended up not coming back, and left a note for the store manager. I'm like, yeah, plus there was a bunch of family shit going on at home. My dad ended up breaking his knee. And so I ended up moving back home because of family emergencies. And apparently, from what I heard, he was absolutely heartbroken that I left, the store manager. I'm like, I'm sure, because not many other people were putting up with the shit that you were putting through your other floral merchandisers. Like, holy hell, guy. But when I came back, they had filled my department slot, so I couldn't have my old department back. And they ended up putting me up front and training me for customer service. And then my department did open up after they had trained me for the cash office. They had given me, I think, maybe $1 raise, which I gotta tell you, wasn't very much after taxes. And I didn't really feel that much of a difference. And so when the department opened back up, I'm like, hey, can I have my department back? Since you guys need somebody to merchandise and I already know what the hell I'm doing, I can take the department back. They're like, no. I was like, what do you mean? I already know how to do the things. And they're like, yeah, but we need you on the front end more. I'm like, no, you don't. You're fine up there. You've got plenty of people. And then they tried to tell me, well, we'd have to take your pay raise away. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll take the pay cut. I'll take the pay cut to go back to the department. That's fine. No, we can't do that. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? They wouldn't let me go back to my merchandising position. Probably because they now had someone that they could walk all over. Because now that I was trained to do deposits on the weekend, the office manager didn't have to come in and do them herself or get one of the other department merchandisers that was also trained on how to do it to come in and do it. And then they had me coming in during the week when the office manager was on vacation and doing all of the things that I knew how to do, such as damages and photocopying signs for the ad flip and doing the deposits. And I didn't have to do it on the last day. I didn't have to do it on Monday morning because that was closing out the week before, because they only counted the change in the registers on Monday mornings. The rest of the week, we were only counting bills and eyeballing. Like, if the register was like $10 short, but there was a $10 roll of quarters in there, they're like, that's fine, that's where it is. It was crazy. They would not let me take my department back. I'm like, this is dumb. They're like, no. you'll have to take a pay cut. I'm like, I don't care. Get me off of this front end, because this is crazy. If I have one more lady yell at me over trying to return something without a receipt, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. It was such a fucked up return policy. I can say these things because the store went bankrupt and they're out of business. I left before that happened. What was it? You could return it as long as you had the receipt. There was no time limit. We were having stuff get returned from like 7 years prior. So it didn't scan in our system, or it would scan as discontinued and no price. But if it matched the receipt description, we had to take it back. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's going to end up going on sidewalk sale. Or if there's something wrong with it, it's just going to go in damages. Like, what? That's how they did it. It was wild. I was like, we need a time limit on this return policy. Plus, if you didn't have your receipt, if the item was scanning as still in our system and wasn't coming up like a funny discontinued code or something, or like 10 cents or whatever, if it came up like 10 cents, then it had gone to sidewalk sale and we weren't going to take it back without the receipt. But if you didn't have the receipt, they would only take it back at 40% off, because we ran coupons every week for 40% off, and we even had some secret coupons in the store at the register in case people said, oh shoot, I forgot my coupon. We had to have a manager come up and sign it, and they would look at the customer to make sure they weren't going through each and every register saying I forgot my coupon on the same day and getting like 4 coupons. But they would only take it back at 40% off, and we had so many people argue with us about that. I didn't use a coupon. You could prove that if you had the receipt. Well, I don't have the receipt. Okay, well then it's 40% off because 90% of the people in here haggle with us to get a coupon. Even if the item's already on sale, they would rather pay full price and then have a 40 off coupon off of it. Management let them. I hated that so much. So fucking much. They went to great lengths to explain the store policy to us and how to handle returns. And we would explain that to the customer and they would still argue with us. So we'd page a manager up. And then they'd let the customer get their way. And I'm like, yo, you understand you're creating bad customers here, right? Because now the next time they're going to argue, we're going to have to page you up. And then you're going to let them do it again. So why do we even have this stupid policy if you're just going to ignore it? Like, why? Why? I was like, no. You're going to tell them that that is the policy, but you're going to set it aside this one time. Or something, not just because you don't want to argue with them. We had a brigade of little old ladies, little grandmas, that had a shopping cart filled to the top with yarn. They parked their shopping cart up front next to the display tables we had by the registers. There was 4 of them. Yarn's expensive, especially when you get the fancy smancy yarn. Some of those balls of yarn especially the fancy ones, could be like $11.99 for a tiny ass palm-sized ball of yarn. They had all of this yarn in their cart, and they had stacks of coupons with them. I guess they photocopied them. They went and bought a whole bunch of newspapers. I don't know where they got all these coupons from, but they had a bunch of them. And they were taking turns going through different registers and using a coupon on one single solitary ball of yarn, and then going back to their cart and getting a new one and getting back in line. All of them. And the store manager saw them doing this, and he's like, ladies, he's like, come on. He goes, it's one coupon per day. And one of them goes, no, it's not. It says one coupon per visit. And I've gone through the line, and this is a new visit. And he's like, all right, look, do me a favor. He's like, can you at least walk that bag out to your car and then come back in? Please? I guess to put a little bit more time in between the timestamps on the receipts or whatever. They did. They're like, well, nobody's gonna touch my cart. And we're like, no, we'll tell them not to. We'll tell them to leave the cart there. And he told me that the cart was there and what was going on. And I just kind of looked at him. I'm like, okay. like, you know what? Y'all aren't paying me enough for this shit. So, what the fuck ever. Yeah, I think when I left there, I was making $9.50 an hour to be their head, front, and supervisor. The supervisor that was the only one allowed to train the manager trainees at that point. They wouldn't give me a raise for that either. I'm like, you're trusting me to train these people. Specifically, only me. But you're not going to give me a raise for this. Nope. Okay. Sure. And then they got pissed off at me when I left. Like, livid, angry, aggressively angry, pissed off. It was just getting to be too much. It was getting to be too much. It might have been shortly after I had gotten screamed at for things out of my control. And I was so done with just being such a fucking doormat. And my dad was like, you know, the department's hiring over at the casino, and they said that you could interview for it. We just can't work on the same shift, but we can work in the same department. And there's benefits. We didn't have insurance at the craft store. And I was like, well, I should probably do that. And when I interviewed, well, I found out I needed a casino license. So I had to apply for that. There was no guarantee that I was going to get approved for said casino license. They had to do all kinds of background checks on me, family history checks, you know, all sorts of the things. It was quite an extensive thing. Like, I had to go back family history, like X number of people, and have references just for the license that had no guarantee. And I think I had to drop $350 on that application with no guarantee of getting anything. And I was like, oh, I was like, all right. So I applied. And you know how you kind of shrug it off and are like, are they really gonna check employment history? Are they really? Yeah, they really. They really. They were very thorough. Because I came into work to clock in. Hadn't even clocked in yet. I was there a few minutes early because I had to take the bus. I think I was there actually a half hour early. I'm putting my stuff down and starting to put it in my locker. And the office manager walks in, fuming. And very nastily and very angrily says to me, "When were you going to tell me you're looking for another job?" Real snarky. And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "When were you going to tell me you were looking for another job?" And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I am so confused. I hadn't applied at the casino yet. Because I had to get this license first before I could actually apply, which to me, apply would be trying to get another job. And I was like, I was so confused. I'm like, I'm not yet? What are you talking about? Well, then tell me why somebody was calling here checking on your employment history. I'm like, what business is it of yours? Just tell them. Yes, I worked here. What the fuck is the big deal? I said, I had to apply for a casino license. The job I might apply for needs this license. But I wasn't going to say anything until the license got approved. Because if the license didn't get approved, well, guess what? I'm staying here and not going anywhere. So why would I upset everybody and make everybody mad at me, apparently, if I'm not actually leaving? So in my brain, I'm like, I don't know that I'm leaving yet. I don't know if this license is going to be approved yet. And oh, she was so cold and angry to me after that. Oh. I'm like, man, what the hell? And then one of the other ladies that had been there long before I started, I liked her. She could be kind of like a dog on a chain sometimes. She could get angry and fussy and grouchy. But once you got used to her, she is alright. Like, I didn't have any problems with her. Unless I was one of the lucky ones that she didn't get real pissy with. But, like, she was the person who interviewed me, and I ended up working in her department part-time when I first started doing closing shifts. And then I got bumped up like 3 months later to be a merchandiser, which surprised the fuck out of me. But she had said to me at one point, she's like, "Don't be a lifer here." And I'm like, "A lifer?" She's like, "Yeah, don't stay here forever." She's like, I think she said that she liked me too much. She's like, "You don't want to be here." She's like, "Don't be one of us. Don't be here forever." And I was like, okay. But then I get treated like public enemy number. Like, you would have thought I ran over this woman's dog. The way she was acting towards me. And I was like, oh my god. And then like everybody, we were not the only ones in the room when she did this to me. I was in the break room putting my stuff away. I hadn't even clocked in yet. I was early, and the others that were in there on lunch, they're all staring at me like, what the fuck just happened? And a couple of them are like staring at me like expecting more information from me, and I almost started crying. I'm like, what the fuck? I kind of sat down and I was mad and upset, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't even know if I applied for a casino license. It doesn't mean I'm gonna get it. Like, there was some family shenanigans with a half sibling of mine that I wasn't sure was going to be a problem for me getting this casino license. Because he had been in and out of jail. He was, at the time, in state prison. I didn't know how much of a problem that was going to be. So, no, I'm not gonna say anything until I know if it's been approved. Like, what the fuck? My half-sibling did not make good choices. And I don't know if they are going to think that we have a closer relationship than we do. Hardly saw them very much. But, you know, they also look to see if you're telling the truth or lying on there, so I had to put all this shit down. And the only thing I could think was, if she cost me my license, I'm gonna be so mad. I ended up getting approved. And because she was so nasty to me over me just applying for a license and not sure if I was gonna get it, I tried to give them 2 weeks. And when I handed in my 2 weeks notice, she was real angry, real cold to me for the remainder of my time. And then it turned out that they wanted me to start sooner than I had planned. And they're like, oh, there's an orientation happening here. We need you to be at that. And I'm like, okay. So then I could only give them 1 week's notice. And it was all very strange. And then it turned out after I did the orientation, they didn't take enough of my hair for the drug test that they ran. And I couldn't start when they wanted me to start anyway. So I could have worked the 2 weeks, I guess. Kind of. Because then I got delayed starting by a week because they didn't like cut the hair close enough to my scalp or whatever for the drug test. I had to go back. They had to cut out another huge chunk of my hair. I'm like, I promise the only thing I've taken is Tylenol. But okay. Place was wild to work at. But I liked it to a degree. You can see like the little bits of gesso flakes that are kind of sticking up there. So the goal is to finish filling in the black thread. That's why this section looks so much better up in here, because that all has the black stitching in the background. So I'm hoping maybe tomorrow I can get some more done on that. We're supposed to have potentially angry skies tomorrow. Let me take a look here real quick. Oh my god, this local weather website is driving me crazy. So I get like more precise weather updates from our local TV station, and it keeps changing it to the town that the station is in, even though I had it set for our town. What time does that say? Does that say 7 p.m. or 2 p.m.? That might say 7 p.m. So tomorrow night we might... Oh wow, yeah. We might not be streaming tomorrow night. We will see. We will very much play that by ear. We might start tomorrow and then have to end early. We'll see what happens with that. And it's not that I don't want to stream during a storm, it's that the one doggo that was barking his head off earlier, he has real bad storm anxiety and gets real upset and pacey and shaky during storms, and then he starts trying to climb furniture that he shouldn't be climbing and potentially hurting himself. So then we kind of have to carry him around or bundle him in a blanket and kind of do like super grip on him to keep him from hurting himself. So we'll see what happens there and how much trouble he's going to be if we even get the stuff. They've been real bad at our forecasts lately. So we'll definitely see how that ends up going. Let's see if I can get this split here. Come on. Please, please. All right, that's 2. But I need 3. I will say, it is very warm in here. Huh?
Yep, sorry.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. It's like 80 degrees out still. And we have a heat index of 86, if this is to be believed. Come on. Why are you being so much? You're just... Why? Why are you being crazy here? No. You are trying to not... And haven't even done anything yet. Oh my goodness. This floss from Coates and Clark is so pissy. Like, unbelievably. The DMC doesn't try to not like this constantly. I mean, I've had DMC tangle. Don't get me wrong. I have. But this is crazy. What is happening right here? Come on. You shouldn't be this much of a problem. Alright, you know what? Fine. That's how we're gonna handle you. Okay. So we're gonna move back into our watercolor. I'd love to know why it's so effing hot in here. I mean, we didn't even hit the triple digits today. Like, what the heck? Alright, we need to... You back up on the army. Alright, so we've got some more of this blue here. That we need to fill in. With hopefully out stabbing myself. So I haven't done the rest of the eye yet. We only did the circle at the top. Figured we'd get the rest of the eye as we move across here. So even though this is quite the endeavor, or has become quite the endeavor, and is taking longer than I originally kind of thought maybe it would. I'm still liking how it's coming out. Kind of like an awkward spot. I'm so nervous because I knew my arm was under there somewhere. And I wasn't sure if I was about to stab myself or not. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, that's for sure. But we try not to do silly things like that. So it was a lot easier when we were on the end pieces. And it's totally easier when I'm doing the black background stitching because I don't actually put it on my helper clip here when I'm doing that because I don't have to stay in camera because I'm not recording that part. So I can be whatever position that needs to be in. Which definitely makes things a little bit easier. But yeah, I'm excited to get some more work done on the other thing, the Bob Ross inspired one. So that I can get that one finished up and off of that stand. So I think when I do the next one, I'm going to put it in a slightly bigger hoop than I need. Just to give me a little bit more working room on it. I probably should have did that. But by the time I thought about it, I had already definitely more than started and kind of had it set to that hoop, and there was going to be the big ass indent and from it being locked into that hoop, and I'm like, yeah, live and learn, right? The reviews on that other stand that I had weren't super stellar. I mean, some of them were. But then there were other people bitching about it coming loose and them having to retighten it. I'm like, it's wood with a little tiny screw nubby. I'm like, how hard are you pulling? I've had a couple times where I've had to tighten mine. However, my thread was being particularly pissy and I had pulled rather hard. So I'm like, okay. And I did have to retighten one of the support arms on it once or twice. But again, probably my fault because I tend to pick it up by the support arm, by one of the support arms. So I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It's serving its purpose and allowing me to stitch without holding the hoop. So I can try to learn how to do my stitches better, and I will say the hands-free hoop holder made life so much easier, especially with learning the French knots and everything, because I was so terrible with them. That and the way I was being taught them, and then I learned somebody else's way, and that also helped a tremendous amount. But it also helped when I had two full hands to work with instead of like a hand and a half. It's amazing how much easier things got when I put it in the stand. So I do recommend some sort of stand. Okay. So we're just working on some of our little background watery pieces here. Little blue bits. And my very sad, chunky looking starfish. I'm hoping we can get him looking a little bit better when I come back in with the black stitching around the outside of him. And I'm able to get his shape a bit more redefined. Because trust me, I know he's a bit of a pudgy mess. I already know. So I hope we can get tomorrow's stream in. Wondering if I need to do tomorrow morning instead. I don't necessarily want to. I mean, I guess if we miss tomorrow, we miss tomorrow, right? At least it's not a Planet Zoo day that we would be missing in theory. Although, I'm not sure what Friday's weather is looking like either. I do need to try to get some more Bookshop Simulator recorded at some point this weekend. Because that is going to be the next game going up on the channel. Now, I downloaded 2 demos on Steam. One for an ice cream shop simulator. And I really need to restart the demo on that. The tutorial didn't stay on the screen very long, so I was kind of overwhelmed with trying to figure out how that was supposed to go at first, but I want to give that another go where I'm not distracted and can actually give it my full attention, because I was watching weather coverage when I was trying to figure it out earlier. And I downloaded the demo for something else, and I can't remember what it was called. Some kind of like Eero.
Wrap. It's just called a wrap.
Wrap simulator, where you're like running a Greek food stand or something. That felt very much like fast food sim from what I had seen another set of people playing, except they had more than one person. It was a lot for one person, and I was like, oh boy. How do I do this? Because there's also a sink, and I don't know if I'm actually supposed to wash stuff or if it's just there
I think that's just
for decorative. Like, I don't know. I didn't really get the chance to see because I was like, this is a lot for one person to be running around dealing with. I mean, you can hire employees, but first day, you probably shouldn't be blowing money on that. But it did have a game mode that was super casual that apparently the customers would wait forever. So you could, like, get your feet under you, which was lovely. I was very happy to see that. So I might give that demo more of a fair shake as well. It's only on sale for a few more days though, so I might have to work on that tomorrow morning. But it could be all kinds of mistakes were made madness. Perhaps for a stream. Potentially. Because I needed a break from Dinkum, so I'm thinking about maybe popping into Stardew Valley. Maybe we'll give this thing a look-see. We've potentially got some options. We could also live stream Honey, I Joined a Cult, because I've only done a recording of that. We could always pick a different theme than what we went with last time, because there are multiple ones to choose from. Don't know that I am going to have enough to finish on this particular needle. Oh, well, certainly not when I mess up like that. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to rethread that guy because he's getting really short there. And like I have to have tie offy length available. Alright, so maybe one more. Okay. Let's see. Oh, don't tell me. If you completely not. Okay, good. Alright. Grab my other bit of thread here. So we have to finish up this one, we've got a couple of stitches left on that one. Then this one, and this one, and this one. And I think that one will be this shade. Do I have enough on this one to do that many? Probably not. But we'll see. The saga of the blue background. Alright, so when we get done working on the water bit that we are currently doing, then we will do the rest of our eye. We probably won't get to that tonight, though. I just happened to see what time it was. Somehow managed to pull a piece of orange thread up. No, no, no. Don't do that. Alright, you know what? That's fine. We'll be able to fix it with the black background when we get that brought in this section. We have been able to work some magic with that so far in the other parts of this guy. If I thought for sure we would have been, or will be able to get tomorrow's stream in, I probably would have paused before rethreading. Just that would have been a good spot to stop in for the night, but I don't know if we're gonna be streaming tomorrow night. So make sure you are following on Blue Sky. So that way you'll see if I end up postponing or canceling tomorrow's stream, because that is where I will make my announcements if we do have to cancel for whatever reason, whether it's weather, migraine, life. I don't cancel very often. And most of the time it's because of a migraine when I have had to. We've certainly had to stop early before for King Doggo when the weather has gotten a bit spicy. I'm hoping we don't end up with the level of spiciness that people had today. Because no thank you. Everybody else can keep that. Where is my... There we are. It's like tapping the needle, and I'm like, I'm not seeing it, showing up anywhere. What is happening with this thread? Look, thread. You need to calm down. This thread's been all sorts of spicy tonight. What did I just say? Just said that you needed to calm the hell down. Did not mean for you to double down and be causing me problems over here. Now I know it's very close to our star here. Our starfishy. It's alright. That won't really be an issue when everything is all said and done. Like I said, that black thread will come in and fix a bunch of issues. In the backgrounds. And it'll look like it never happened. Okay, where do I want to go? I guess... Side step down to you. And we'll try to get this guy covered in here. And then we will see about doing the other one. What the heck was that? What are y'all doing?
Being cats.
No, it sounded like Snuffle made a noise. Like, I wasn't sure if she just got ill or if she was being fussy.
I'm guessing fussy.
Are we sure? What was that noise?
Beans. Possibly peanut, or possibly both.
Oh, they're messing with a box. Okay. That makes more sense. That makes a ton more sense. Y'all are gonna lose that box soon. Y'all haven't been paying a lick of attention to it. Except for when I want to get rid of it. Oh my goodness. Bean Construction Company at your service. What the heck? Who was that? Is somebody stuck?
Are you stuck in? Hold up, P-Butt. P-Butt, stop, stop, stop.
He was stuck in the box?
No, he had somehow gotten his paw on one of your shirts and his claw was stuck on it.
Oh my god.
For the heart attack, buddy.
Yeah, could you, like, not make that noise?
That cat makes the most unholy fucking noises whenever he does anything.
And it's like that specific noise. I've been traumatized by that specific noise that he makes. Because the last time he made that specific noise, he had to have emergency surgery.
Did he make that noise for that?
Yep. Very similar to it. It was a little bit longer and drawn out, but yes. Same tone. What shirt was he caught on? T-shirt or a sweater?
I'm not sure.
Right now, I'm just hoping we've got enough on here. To... Really? Come on. Alright, so... You're just... Really? Freaking... Oh, sure, you'll come off super easy after I pull the needle off the thread. So I'll go as far as I can on this particular shade. So I don't want to redo the needle. For a teeny tiny bit. So kind of like how I did that one. So we'll go till we run out of viable thread. And then that'll be like the first one of this color that we pick back up with. The next time we pull this color out, I feel like we are gonna be just short here. Certainly looks that way. So maybe, oh boy, we're gonna really, no, we're not gonna make it. I mean, if I hadn't messed that up there, maybe. But that's like real close. Although it might be good enough. Might be good enough. Let me get the black in there around it. That black stitching actually does absolute miracles. More than you would think. Alrighty. So let me slide that guy out of the way. Alright, so we got this guy covered. Now he took a little bit more time than I anticipated, but that's fine. And we got some more of our medium blue filled in up in here. So next time we'll start off with our dark blue, finishing up this one, getting these guys in here, and possibly these three. And then I want to get our eye here. And from there we might work on this fishy guy and see how things go. I still haven't figured out if this is supposed to be part of the fish or not. I know this one is. I know that one is, and I know that one is. I don't know about this one. I feel like it should be, based on the shape of everybody else around it. I might have to dig out the stencils and double check that one. But we'll see. And I haven't made up my mind what color they're gonna be yet. I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some greens and yellows. I don't know. I think we were thinking maybe flounder colors, maybe some sort of different shade of blue. And maybe a little bit of a stripey of yellow in there. I don't know. We'll figure that out next time. But we will be calling it there for tonight. So I want to thank you guys for popping in and hanging out with me. We're getting there slowly but surely. We are getting there. So don't forget to follow the social links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi, the Blue Sky, and the YouTube channel. I archive most of the live streams over on the YouTube channel. So you'll find a thread painting playlist, a needle felting playlist, tissue paper art, painting, different games that we've played, all of the things. So don't forget to give that a look-see. Don't forget to please, please, please subscribe over there. It helps that channel out as well. I don't know what's happening tomorrow yet, so keep an eye on Blue Sky. If I have to cancel, I will post there. We'll see what the weather decides to do tomorrow. So everybody have a good day tomorrow, and until next time.